doctor said one thing, but you know, sometimes Almighty has a different plan.
I want to be lost in your love.
This is what you said to me. Trav, we love you. You know we love you. But Carla Van Blake Terwilliger, do you have any more of her? Because we are really into her. We would like, so here she is, the singing cyborg of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Carla Van Blake Terwilliger of Simple Truth Duet. Oh yeah, by the way, that was my friend Adam that was there. That's Adam Lau, classic Lau. Without further ado, here is Carla Van Blake of Simple Truth Duet.
I want to fly above this world. I want to be lost in your love.
One day, I'm worshiping. I'm singing a song of gratitude and thanksgiving. Door number 1, door number 2. We can make you comfortable for the next 3 days until you die. Or we can put this machine in your chest. You might live. What's all that music? I'm like, it's me!
So you were in the hospital, you're
I was
hemorrhaging.
in the hospital. They used a much larger breathing tube than they should have, and it damaged my vocal cords. Came out, I sounded like Joe Cocker.
Miles Davis, maybe.
Miles Davis, yeah. I couldn't speak clearly, and I couldn't sing a note. And they said, "Oh, don't worry, you'll never sing again, but you'll be able to talk someday." And I'm like, "Never sing again." And they're like, "Well, it's not like you're a singer, right?" I said, "Oh, I am a singer." And they're like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh, yeah.
So for a couple of weeks, I couldn't sing. I never would have become the singing cyborg of Albuquerque.
Travelin' Trav is a singer, songwriter, poet, essayist, metaphysical therapist, teacher, healer, father, and an advocate for the homeless and neurodivergent. I got my boots on the ground. I got my boots on the ground. So, Carla, you are a singer, songwriter, Albuquerque jazz musician. Steve is also an accomplished guitarist, and I'm interested in your sound. You've got this lineup of hard-hitting, compassionate songs. I like the way you and Steve show up together. Simple Truth. Where'd that come from?
Steve came up with that name. That was his idea. I said, "What should we call our group?" And he says, "Simple Truth."
Simple Truth.
That's what music is. It's just the simple truth.
There's a great sense among many of us now that we are a part of something greater than ourselves. There is a movement that has its very own intelligence. I hope that you too, my friend, can sense this great uprising of love that is coming from the center of the people. And your father was a teacher of animal husbandry all over Africa, isn't that correct?
He was a reproductive physiologist, and he traveled all over Africa setting up livestock projects to improve food production. He did that for 30 years, and he set up 45 projects in 30 years.
He is an encourager, a deeply flawed human being, and a somewhat reluctant, yet grateful, follower of the one that we have called Jesus. Depth tribes feed the world, y'all. Come on. Labor and the expression of worth. We are discovering our common work, our common stories, and our common love together. When we strengthen a tribe member, we deepen a tribe. Depth tribes feed the world. Come on. LNDEOW, labor and the expression of worth.
I started showing early signs of being interested in engineering. It kind of made my parents nervous because I wasn't conforming. Of course, now, if my dad and mom were alive now, they'd be proud of my being a software engineer.
You spent time in Africa when you were young.
I did. I grew up there Spent 9 years there as a kid. We lived in the rural part of western Nigeria in the early 60s. It was very remote. We had running water in the rainy season, running mud in the dry season, and electricity when we turned on the generator.
And there were ants.
Yes, there were.
You told me about the ants.
Yeah, you see these pictures on National Geographic and stuff, these giant ant hills. Those ants, when the rains come, I mean, they go as much underground as they do above ground. And when the rains come, it washes them out, and they pick up and move those nests. So there's billions, literally billions of nests.
Trav's working practice is now an integration of his diverse career experiences, which includes time in the military, police, academia, and physical therapy. I certainly welcome your prayers, my friend, as I am also praying for you. Our lives are prayers for one another. Labor and the expression of worth. Strengthening a tribe member deepens a tribe. Depth tribes feed the world. LNTEOW, labor and the expression of worth.
And I would just sit and play with it and try to hum, try to get a sound. And one day, I'm worshiping. I'm singing a song of gratitude and thanksgiving. And all of a sudden, I hear a clear note. And it's like, wow. So I keep singing, and I keep worshiping, and keep giving thanks and gratitude. And my voice just gradually, within a few minutes, got stronger and stronger until I was just like singing. And the nurses came in and said, "What's all that music?" And I'm like, "It's me!" But it just came back like that while I was worshiping. And the doctor said one thing, but sometimes the Almighty has a different plan. And he had a different plan for me. I never would have become the singing cyborg of Albuquerque if I had lost my voice at that point.
And was it also during this time that Steve proposed to you?
It was actually before my surgery.
Oh, before the surgery.
Yeah, they had done all these tests. They tried to figure out. They finally concluded that my heart problem was a birth defect, and so they couldn't fix it. And I had just been blessed for 60 years that nothing had happened. And so they said, "Well, your heart's getting weaker by the minute." I was down to under 20% fraction rate. And they said, "We can make you comfortable for the next 3 days until you die, or we can put this machine in your chest and you might live." Door number 1, door number 2, I'll take live. And that same day, Steve shows up with a diamond ring, and he says, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Would you marry me?" And I said, "Yes." And all the nurses cried.
We are moving beyond the binary into a more fluid state. This is evident in our most recent explorations of gender identification.
Parents were really worried that I was not feminine enough at the time. Back in the 50s, women weren't engineers very much.
Mm-hmm.
It was very rare. You're a housewife or a housewife or
Yeah.
collard greens made the trip across the ocean with the people that loved them, and we still eat them now.
Travel and Trav is developing educational materials which encourage the alignment of our rational and mystical senses. These educational tools will help us to manage this species-wide transition in our consciousness.